What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of the One Fourth Careers podcast. I'm your host, Xavier. Excited to bring you guys another wonderful episode introducing you to an additional career path. So let's get into it. Today, I'm here with Nathan. Nathan graduated from Purdue University with a Bachelor of Science in Supply Chain, Management Information Systems, and Analytics in 2020. He also graduated with his MBA from Quantic School of Business and Technology in 2023. Now, Nathan is self-employed as the co-founder of Stealth Startup. He's also the CEO of a global nonprofit, and he is a content creator. Nathan, what's up? Welcome to the building, my guy. How you doing, bro?
Doing good, Xavier. How you?
Man, I can't complain at all, man. Fatherhood is treating me well, good weather outside, and excited to go see my brother this weekend for his birthday. So shout out to my bro. Shout out to you, Silas. Love you, boy.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Shout out to the young king, man, bro. But how you doing, bro? How the summer treating you? I think you out in the West Coast, right?
Yeah, all I gotta say is it's hot.
Nah,
hot,
for sure, man, for sure. Hey, at least for me, it's better than being ice cold, bro. I don't be rocking with the snow and stuff, but I think a lot of people are always happy this time of year in the summer, rooftop bars and just having a good time outside.
Oh yeah.
Especially for the melanin. You gotta drink up that sun. Hey man, well, that's dope, bro. Again, it's an honor to have you on the pod, bro. Really appreciate you for doing this, man. First thing I want to jump into, bro, is give me a little bit more about your background. It seems like you're doing so much right now. How would you describe the man behind all the accomplishments that you've been realizing as of late?
Man, I'll honestly say, first and foremost, I gotta thank God. That's just one thing about me. But as it stands, again, like you said, I'm currently a co-founder of a stealth startup. The name is Virtue. That's just a little bit. I'll share a little bit about them later on. But I'm also leading a nonprofit called New Wave Nigeria. I got the merch on. Let me just show it real quick.
Yes, sir. Let them know. There you go.
Hey, coming soon. So if you want one, all proceeds go to a great cause. And then lastly, yeah, I'm a content creator. In that, I'm also an actor. I've acted on a Hulu show that was a year ago, 2 years ago.
What?
I recently co-directed a short film that should be coming out hopefully by the end of this year. And again, man, I'm just humbly staking out the path that I believe I'm set on, right? Destined to be on. So.
Oh my goodness. You didn't tell me I had about 2, 3, 4, 5 more sentences to add to the intro, but it's all good. It's all good. I know you had to let the people know what's going on, but that's amazing, bro. That's really cool to hear you say those things, because for a lot of people, that is completely like new, uncharted territory. People kind of getting into those fields, but you seem like you got your hands in a lot of buckets, bro.
Definitely the hands in the buckets, and that's why I say I thank God, because it's only by the grace, man. I'm telling you.
I believe it. Cool, man. Well, hey, so for our first segment, bro, we got a segment called doing a step back. So when you're on the court, one direction, you step back real quick, and then you go about your business. So I know we getting ready to kind of dig into your career and all the things you have going on, but gotta hit a step back, bro, and ask you, what did you want to be when you were younger? You were an adolescent.
Nah, me, I feel like this is a lot of folks. I was always like, I'm going to the NFL.
You're going to the league.
I'm going to the league, Hey, it looked like it for a couple years, but I mean, hey, it's one of those things where I actually, I played high school football at a school that was like nationally ranked. I was on I think we were ranked number 3 or number 5 in the nation in terms of defense. I was a defensive back, right? So
look at you, sounding biased.
Now, listen, it's one of those things. Defense wins championships. They don't say that about offense.
That's 100.
But yeah, I think for me, just throughout that process, as a kid, I always had that passion to be an athlete, to compete, to pursue my best potential, just do the best whatever I had. And I took that into high school, was able to compete at a high level with folks that are in the NFL right now, and then had the chance to pursue it more. But at the time, I didn't quite believe in myself and my skills enough to put in the work, right? I had chances to walk on at Purdue University, where I studied football, where I studied supply chain management, information analytics. My brother ran track at Purdue, student athlete. He was the first Black student athlete president. I knew a lot of folks on the football team, and I think it was a great lesson for me to really see the consequence of not having enough faith in your skills and your abilities and your dreams, right? And so, yeah, no, it was a great lesson, and I'm thankful for it.
You coming out hot with the gyms already, bro? Come on now, what's going on? Hey, man, shout out to bro for that accomplishment as well, being the first Black student athlete president, and that's really interesting. I appreciate that transparency too, man, especially on this platform, bro, letting people kind of know your experience with that. I think that was a crazy bar as well. So, getting back to regular programming, man, across all the areas that you're currently working in, how would you describe roles and responsibilities or high level description of what you do in these different spaces?
So a lot of it, honestly, is motivation, prioritization. Currently, right now, the startup, we're in a phase where we're driving towards having that fully launched app on the platform, on the App Store, right? So there's scaling, there's scoping, as well as the technical piece of actually building the products, the development, the marketing, the fundraising, the classic startup founder, list of roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
On the nonprofit side, it's a similar thing, right? Setting the vision, then the program management of operationally, organizing the projects, working with your partners on the ground, if it's, for us in Nigeria, or if it's somewhere in the States or somewhere else, and then tracking that progress, tracking that impact, and keeping up with that. I think right now we actually, and this is a little heads up, we haven't posted about this, we got a project going on in Camaroon, where we're working with Angels at Bat to deliver some baseball equipment to folks, and as well as some other things. So, hey, man, it's all a part of the role. And then I think, again, with content creation, acting, and all of that stuff, it's more so prioritizing growing the skill, growing the following, editing content, focusing on the niche of content that you're putting into, which is kind of a discovery process. So it's a lot, but it's a day by day pursuit.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Nah, that's really cool. Shout out to y'all for what y'all doing in Cameroon, and appreciate you sharing some groundbreaking information here, bro, at One Fourth Careers. Putting everybody on game, bro. So how did you get into the space of founding your own startup and kind of leading a nonprofit? How would you describe your journey of actually making those moves?
Man, I'll honestly say it's more of an experience, right? Each of these started with a core realization of an issue and the ability that one has to create a solution for that issue. So for the nonprofit, back in 2019, I traveled back to Nigeria because my brother was doing a research project for I think it was like the biochemistry, but it was one of Purdue's bioscience labs or groups. And while we were there, we were staying with an aunt, and I was just looking around, at some of the windows, the doors, things of that nature, where I was like, this isn't built to flush. This isn't built correctly with care. This isn't how it should be. And for me, that was a realization, like a maturity, right? Of, okay, I've grown up in the States pretty much my whole life, but my Nigerian background, which I didn't get to talk about by that part of me, right? But I have a responsibility to give back whenever I can, right? Because of the sacrifices that have been given up for me. And so I came back to campus and I just worked with one of my professors to create a nonprofit class. And through that class, I was able to start it like in college, and then I've just kept up with it ever since. In 2020, that's when we like officially started, but the class started at the end of 2019. So yeah, it starts with an experience.
Man, that's crazy. And what I didn't mention is I've been to West Lafayette. I've been there one time. I've been there one time for the one time. My wife was recruiting there. We went there. We hit up Triple X a couple of
Come
times.
on.
No,
Come
we hit that
on.
trip in Mexico. Hey. It
That
was.
peanut butter burger goes hard.
Hey, you think so? Hey, I thought so too. I definitely had it a couple times with those them biscuits with that root beer jelly.
Oh yeah.
Come
Oh
on
yeah.
now.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
I
That's
know it went
serious.
crazy, but nah, I love that. Okay, so neither here nor there, man. So across those spaces that you are in, how would you
Mm.
describe some of the skills you think are needed, you've experienced and refined to continue to thrive in these different environments? You mentioned the motivation, you mentioned kind of being able to identify a problem and go solve it. And I'm sure a lot goes into that. But what comes top of mind for you as you reflect on all the spaces that you're currently working in? What does it take to actually do these things?
Man, I mean, there's a lot of answers to this, but I'll start with faith and hard work, right? You look at all the greats, you look at the Kobe's, you look at the Michelangelos, you look at
All
the
of them.
literally anyone, all of them, literally anyone. There has always been a moment of faith, and from that faith, the action that it takes, right? The belief stems, the action stems from the belief. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
for me, I'll really say faith is that one thing, and from that faith, perseverance, resilience, and then humility, right? There are so many times where I've learned things from folks that I would have never expected to have something to teach me. There's things where, I've even had like, younger siblings, kids say something that just piqued in my mind of like, oh yeah, like, we really could, have that as part of the solution, or, really could do that project, or, things of that nature. So I think those three in combination go a long way, regardless of what you're building. Like, it doesn't have to be a tech startup. I could even give a brief example. I know folks there's a couple of folks in the Seattle, industry who work in tech, but are also doing side businesses like Honor Candles or Tyra the Stitcher, who are folks that I've seen them, when they first started their business, just as a passion, something that they believed in, and they just started it up. We kind of all were like supporting each other and giving each other encouragement. And now, like, Tyra's going viral, Iman's going viral, like, the things that they're doing, the passions, because they had the faith, because they put in the work, they're now at a place where, they're able to do this as something that really brings them happiness, as well as another passive/active stream of income. So it's
Yeah.
great to see, and those are really traits that go a long way regardless of what you're doing.
I love that. I love hearing in each episode our guests talk about some of the skills needed to thrive where they are, because I think a lot of times a person may expect you're going to get this long laundry list of these amazing things that you are just so unique to one person, and it's not as easily uh, obtained. But then I think a lot of times what I've noticed and some of what I've observed in hearing these answers is like, these are things that a person has to work on. These are like traits. These are not necessarily you have to be an Einstein or you have to be, smartest person in the world. But these are, I think a lot of people will be surprised to kind of continuously hear some of these skills that are listed off. So, and it's real stuff, man. That's real life. Like, it's those things you look over that you don't realize you have to reach a certain level of success. So I think it's really cool that you mentioned those.
Exactly, man. I mean, anybody can do it. At that same time, it's difficult
Yeah.
because of the way the world is and things of that nature. But yeah.
Facts. So tell me a little bit about programs, associations, organizations, all of those that have been a part of your life that have helped you be around people who are like-minded, be around the spaces that you knew you wanted to enter into the future. If someone else
Mhm.
wants to recreate similar vibes and experiences and be in certain spaces, are there any of those, programs, associations, and such that you would recommend people kind of check out?
So I did a couple programs as I was younger, and so this might only apply to certain folks, but there's other things I can share at the end as well. But growing up, I did, well, I'll say actually being a part of the football team in high school was very helpful because of the discipline, right, that was
Yeah.
cultivated, the physical fitness that was cultivated. That's a really big part of just being a healthy person mentally, spiritually, etc.
Mhm.
But I also did a program called Battalion Militaire. It was essentially like a young black male training program where black men in our community came together, invested in us in financial knowledge, how to prepare for college, how to interact with women, how to interact with police officers. And that was really a life-changing experience for me. One, because of the community that I was with. This was folks all across Indianapolis, like the Naptown area,
Yeah.
as well as professionals. People who were like CEOs at IU Health. Who were working in tech, working in the police force, right? So that was a great experience for me, as well as just being able to recognize that giving back spirit. And then I met a mentor through that who, that kind of led me to Purdue, actually, where I did the business opportunities program, which was a diversity program for Black and folks of color in business at Craner. And that was really transformative for me because every summer I was being pushed to do internships. I did a lot of internships. I'll humbly say them. I did them all. I was G Aviation, Roche, Amazon, things that I would not have been able to do without Darren Henry and the BOT program because of all that was invested in me. And then I'll say current groups that I think are really helpful to be a part of. I think everyone should be a part of some sort of group in their city, some sort of tech group. You'll see a lot of them on GroupMe, right? You'll see a lot of them on LinkedIn as well. Recently, when I was in DC, there's a group, I think they call them Tech Talks.
Okay.
But we just had a great time meeting up, talking with folks who are, leading venture firms, who are creating new AI products and things of that nature. Surrounding yourself with community and people that are pursuing things, like-minded individuals, like you said, really critical. So
yeah. No, that's dope. I love that. I love that a lot, man. Also curious for others that you've noticed in the entrepreneurship space, maybe even those in just some of the spaces that you're in, whether it's tech startups or whatever the case may be, what have you noticed about their backgrounds? And I think this is really important to maybe demystify if there are thoughts of like, oh, it's only this type of person who can do that stuff. How would you describe the variety of backgrounds that exist in the spaces that you've been in?
Man, it is a complete myth that you have to come from a pure tech background. I have met folks that came from transportation, that came from teaching, that came from literally anything you can think of, very unique individuals. Nobody has the same background. So I think it's a little bit of a gate-kept secret that you don't have to be an engineer to lead a startup, I mean, especially in this day and age, we could talk about it, but it's really the playing field is wide open for anybody to pursue their passion.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't even have to have a 4-year degree either. I think that's really important for people to know too. Like,
You really don't.
it's not required. It's not required now. But I love the fact that you say gate kept because that's one of the biggest pieces of One Fourth Careers podcast is we are working to dismantle gatekeeping, and that's exactly why Nathan is here to share these gems, and I hope you guys are appreciating them so far. Now, the last question of this bucket of the conversation we're in, man, is if you could go back to undergrad and give yourself advice to better prepare yourself for where you currently are, the things that you're doing and your interests, what would that advice look like?
Man, honestly, so much that I could say young me, but first and foremost, I would say believe. Start small. Even with a small action day by day, week by week, if I had started back then, I would be 10, 100 times farther than where I am right now. Because again, like I said earlier, faith is the actions that come from faith don't have to be the huge, what people usually perceive as like, oh, they're doing something. Like, I don't have to post that I made my first 100, 200K in revenue for me to be working on a product, for me to be building what, by the grace of God, does have that kind of impact, right? So I think believe, take small actions, and don't do the comparison, social media. I see what they did, so
Yep.
because they're doing it, I can't do what I'm doing.
Yo, I
There's enough
got
for
you.
everybody out
I
there.
got you. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I
Amen.
remember when I heard that, man, when you compare yourself, especially if you do it frequently, if you just do it over and over, you are missing out on the joy of where you are in life and reflecting and giving yourself the kudos and grace, So don't let you comparing yourself to what other people are steal your joy, because it's priceless, man. Love it.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So another interesting question for you that I'm excited to ask and excited to see where you'll go with it. You being self-employed, you being a CEO of a startup, being a content creator, an actor, a director, the list goes on. What does upward mobility look like for you? Traditionally in the corporate space, it's level one, level two, director, senior vice president, C-suite. You already in the C-suite, but like, how would you describe your approach to upward mobility or progression in your career?
Wow. So again, I'll start with saying comparison is the thief of joy, right? So while I could sit here and say, you know, in a year's time, I'd like to be, Sam Altman, you know,
Okay.
I like to be, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just throwing out names, right?
Mhm.
I think for me, it's better to focus on not just, well, something that is achievable and then overshooting that, a little bit of overachievable, because I believe that having aspirational goals, but putting your pedal to the metal day by day is the best way to actually achieve higher than you believe, right? So for me, it looks like a place of contentment. It looks like a place of consistency. It looks like a place of passion becoming perfectly aligned with purpose.
Yeah.
And I believe that the tangible numbers of that, I mean, hey, that's in God's hands. But at that time, the impact I know will be scaled much higher than it already is.
See, that's crazy because I think we have to pause briefly on this. Essentially asking you how you approach upper mobility. You kind of took a little bit of that to talk about goals. And the goals that I heard from you, and this is the part I want people to kind of, think about, especially as you talk about it, is you then mentioned goals in terms of like the tangible stuff. I heard you mention goals almost of having a goal for a certain type of way that your mindset is built in the process. Consistency definitely stuck out where
Mm.
you're telling me one of your aspirations is in a year or two to just be consistent, to see consistency. Why is
Mm-hmm.
that? Why did you just kind of bring up more about the approach, the mindset, and the process over saying, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire in a year or two," or "Oh, I want to sell 1 billion products. I want to have 500,000 partners, et cetera, et cetera." Like, explain a little bit about that.
Well, I'll say it lightly like this, one commonality between, I'll say, all sides of me, like my Nigerian, my Black, my American side of me,
Mhm.
is that titles are very interesting, good. Like that's what we seek. We seek the titles, right? That come from the promotion of, okay, now I'm a senior program manager, now I'm a
Yeah.
principal program manager. But at the end of the day, what really moves us forward is the foundational mentality, the skill that regardless of where you're at, you can get value from that. You can derive, you can create value from those skills, that being that person, right? So the title doesn't really matter. I mean, the title is just a label. It can be given, it can be taken away. I mean, we saw that with,
Right.
corporate layoffs, things of that nature. Like those things don't matter as much as being the person who can have that title at any time.
Okay, I like that. Well, last segment for you, man. I need a three-piece from you, brother. So this segment is based in where I'm from, our culture of just, some of the foods that we eat, but getting a three
Yeah.
piece of chicken, three-piece of fish, whatever the case may be, three bones if you want to grill.
Come on.
But I rock with food like that. I just gotta say. But I need a three-piece from you about your career, man. I need you to give me three words that you would use to encapsulate your career journey.
Man, listen, I grew up in the South, man. I was born in Dallas, Texas,
There you go.
and then lived in Indiana. So I kind of know a little north
You know
south,
something
but
about it. You know something about it.
I know something about it. Love me a good three
Yeah.
piece. Man, that's a great question. I will answer in three parts. I'll say number one, long suffering, because in every journey, whether it's Bezos, whether it's um, Elon Musk, whether it's Denzel Washington, like you can go through a list of so many people that we look up to, that we aspire to be like, and they almost always. The Rock is another good person to look at based on his journey. Almost always there is a period, there is a season of suffering. There is a season of testing where a person could very easily give up. I'm just listen, open book. I'm just telling it how it is. It's
Don't
the
make me
truth that
start
I
crying. I've been suffering. Nah, that's
listen,
facts.
man. I didn't have my time going through that season. You know, a season of unexplained sickness, of unexplained, issues, problems. That every moment is a testament. Is a moment where you can give up, where your faith is built because you have to go through that process, right?
Yeah.
Um, and let's see, number two, I will say, and I think in long suffering, before I get to number two, there is patience included in that, right? Patience is a part of it. Um, I would say number two is resilience, right? Which
Mhm.
is not just being able to take the hits, but being able to get back up. You know,
Okay.
not quoting Rocky or nothing, but like it's a
Right.
truth. Life will
Yeah.
knock you down, and you have to get back up.
Yep.
Because the alternative is to stay down, right? I mean, nobody's gonna do that.
Hey,
Um,
you heard pops off on Friday. You live to fight another day.
you
Hey, he
live to
tried
fight
to.
another day,
He told us. He
man.
told us.
R.I.P. Man, it's a truth. Like this
Yeah.
wisdom, and then, man, I think a third is community. A third is community because within the community, right, there is support, there is faith, there is function, right? Because we are communal people. We were always born to be in a group, and it's crucial that we don't lose that. I mean, in this day and age with technology, it can be so divisive, but we have to remember that we need to stay connected. We have to stay connected for our own health and well-being. But even if we're talking impact, you can't
Yeah.
really progress. You know what do they say? They say, alone you run fast, together you run far.
Yep.
You can run really fast these days, but you can't really get anywhere if you're not going with the community. So
I love
that's
that.
my three piece, man. That's what I'm eating on.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope, man. So I want you to also tell me who or what inspires you. What keeps you going?
Man, again, I'll say faith first and foremost. I thank God because I like the way Kobe said it. You know, you see the reality when there's a cross that you have to carry and you can't, and He carries it for you, right? So many moments in my suffering seasons where I've been like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through. I don't know how I'm gonna get to the next day, to the next week, and here I
Yep.
am as a testimony, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, and then I'll also say role models. I do look up to people like Denzel Washington, like Chadwick Boseman. You know, I do look up to folks in the tech industry as well. You know, even my dad, like I look up to him as just like a man of character, a man of honor.
Yep.
And I got older brothers and things like that. So, yeah, those are just some of the folks that I look up to, some of the things that drive me. And I'm excited to see what the next step is.
Yeah, man. I love that. What is the next step in the next year or two? Where do you see yourself?
Man, I see a lot of different things. Like I said, the hand's been a lot of buckets, so I see a lot of different things. But by the
Okay.
grace, they're all flourishing. Right things, seeds that have been planted, that they're all flourishing. The nonprofit, I pray that we're going to be serving more and more folks we've got a couple different programs that we're looking to really roll out to similarly to this podcast, unlock the ability for people who have been underserved to chase their dreams,
Absolutely.
to be able to be more than what they see around them, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Then also say for the business, again, within a year, by the grace, we're gonna come back and we're gonna be talking about how it's on the App Store, it's on the platform, fully released, ready to go.
Yep.
So stay tuned, and yeah, we can talk more about that here in a second.
Man, I'll be first in line to try to download it, man. But no, I love that. So I think this is really good where I want to give you the floor to talk about how people can get connected with things that you're doing. How can people contribute? You being on this pod, this episode, man, you've shared a lot of gems. You've been transparent and open about your experiences. And I think that it will help so many people. How can they pour into what you have going on and be a part of any of it?
Yeah, so definitely I got some links. Obviously, the nonprofit, we're on all socials. So find us at New Wave Nigeria. You can find us on LinkedIn. Also, the startup, we've got our link to our website. You can sign up for the wait list right now, but there's going to be more to do coming soon. So
yeah,
just again, stay tuned there. And then content creation, you can find me on TikTok. I can share the link for that as well. But yeah, definitely a lot of ways to connect, to reach out, and definitely you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Like I said, I'm an open book. I'm happy to help whoever I can help as many times as I can. So if I can't, just give me a little bit. But if I can, I'm happy to.
I love it. I love it, man. You guys can find those links below. Link up with my guy. Sign up for the wait list. Sign up for all of it. I think that it will be some really interesting and world-changing things that my guy has in store. So check out those links below. Check out all the links below. Really appreciate y'all. So last but not least, man, you got anything to lead the people with? Any advice? Any more gems? What's on your heart?
Hey, man, I'll just say again, not to be a broken record, but I thank God. I believe this is the time to build your boats like Noah. For all my folks in the tech industry and other industries, there's a lot of disruption that's already happened. There's probably a little bit, maybe a lot of bit more to come. So build your boat. Find something that you are passionate about, that if you could spend all day doing that instead of what you do 9 to 5, I would say it's great to even just in a small way start to do that now. So yeah, that's really it.
I love it. That's dope, man. Well, brother, I appreciate you, my guy. We'll be in touch as always. And I salute you, brother. I appreciate you.
Man, appreciate you, Xavier. Have a great one.
Yeah, likewise, man. Likewise, man. Peace, bro.
Peace.
Yo, this guy did some great stuff, shared a lot of great info. This was an amazing episode. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe as always. Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all as my family supporting. I hope that this episode poured into you. You learned something new. You heard some tips and experiences that you can maybe infuse in your life. And I hope that you're able to share with someone else that this may help. So please stay tuned for more episodes and great content. Comment below if there are some other careers that you guys want to see. If you have any questions for my man Nathan, maybe he'll be able to take a look. Maybe he'll be able to kind of respond depending on how many we got. But he also mentioned reach out to him and connect with them. So I really appreciate y'all again. And I just leave you with stay happy, stay blessed. Peace.